Hi everybody. It's Zaki and Hannah. We're just gonna have a quick chat about how to help parents teach their children about money. As you know, we're both authors of um, children financial literacy books. Um, oh, you can see. Thank you. Um, Someone can see you, Angie. Um,
Perfect.
I think it's just maybe me. That's cool. I can hear you, so we can do this. As we always try to keep it short and sweet, and we always try to just give you something to take away to help your kids to make sure that they make different money decisions and have a basis that's different to what you had or a bit earlier on. So we actually, today's topic is about tips for parents to help teach the children about finances. And we had a similar conversation a couple of weeks back. And I know that we talked about, we talked about books, like educating your kids reading books. We talked about giving them some money, whether that's an allowance or pocket money that they can start to budget. We talked about having normalizing conversations about money with your children. And I think the fourth thing we talked about was just starting to actually speak to your children about money and how much things cost so that they understand the value. So that's a quick whistle um, summary of what we've already given parents as some tips. So what do we have for them today, Angie? What are we gonna leave the parents with?
It's such a shame that you can't see me. But yes, such a great topic and really, really lovely to have you back, Rumbi, my partner in all good things. Um, yes, so it's really, really good for parents to be equipped, especially parents who maybe didn't grow up financially literate themselves, to be equipped with just ways that they can start. And today I'm going to come from a completely new angle. So I'm going to go first with actually one of the ways that you can equip yourself as a parent and as a child is really understanding the tax laws in the jurisdiction or the country where you live in. So I saw a post today that was actually very perfectly timed on inheritance tax. So for example, as a parent, your tip, which is your homework, is to go away and go and read about inheritance tax in the country that you're living in, or any sort of taxes that may end up eating out of the wealth that you're living for your children. So go and read about it, go and educate yourself about it, see if there are things, for example, that you can be doing in your planning. Maybe it's to transfer your assets to your children's name, by a certain age. Maybe it's to open a trust. Again, as always, disclaimer, we are not giving financial advice. We're just discussing. This is Money Chats. We're educating and we're having a dialogue on the sort of things that you can be doing. So, go and see that. The other financial literacy or money tip that I would actually be saying, again, coming from a slightly different angle today, is on wills. Do you have a will? Do your children know that you have a will? Or are they stored at a lawyer's or somewhere that can be easily accessible? So some of these things, honestly, don't always have to cost money, don't always have to mean you're having hard conversations initially. If this is just not even a topic that you're comfortable talking about or educating your children about, you educate yourself on the laws in the country that you live in. You make sure you've got a will. You can have one that you don't have to pay to store it. You can just have one that you write and you keep somewhere that when people are looking, they can find it. That is definitely one thing that you can be doing as a parent. Now, what you can be doing for your children, and I've had sorry, I should pass this back to you, shouldn't I? Isn't this how this works? And then you come back to me. I was going on a monologue. So over to you, Ruby. Give
Uh,
us some more tips.
Okay, so just actually piggybacking off your education yourself and your kids about the taxes of the country. I'm just typing this out. I think what's piggybacking on that is actually just actually teaching your children the mere fact that when you earn money, you are taxed. I think it was a mind-blowing, a mind-boggling, quite sad realization when my first paycheck came about. And guess what? the taxman had taken some money. So I think that it's something that we don't talk about often enough, but actually have those conversation with your kids that actually every time you earn money, there is a tax that you have to pay. So I know Angie talked about tax laws, but I think just the mere fact we're always telling them about earning money and how to make it, but actually we're always forgetting that one thing that's so painful is what is called tax. So income tax, that they will be charged tax when they earn money and they have to be prepared for it. Over back to you.
Yes. So my next tip for parents is to start or open a high interest savings account for their child. So I've spoken to a lot of parents in the years that I've been doing this. And what I found is there is a group of parents who just are not ready for the investing journey. There was a particular mom who said to me, look, I would rather keep all this money under the bed. I just cannot afford for anything, for any company to go bust. No, just this is all I've worked for. I need this to just be there for them. And I hear you. And you know what? This is why we do these sessions as simple as a 4-year-old can understand and actually implement if they're able to, so that we will always meet you at whatever level you are in your financial literacy journey. So for that parent who's saying, I don't know about, opening a brokerage account. I don't know about investing. I don't think I want to do that yet. This whole Bitcoin cryptocurrency thing is really scary. I don't want to do it. That's fine. Right now, as high as interest rates are for people who are taking out loans, they're also very good for savers. So that money that you've got, whether it's in your regular savings account, go onto your banking app, especially if you live in the Western part of the world, and on your normal banking app, go into savings account. I did this with somebody just on Saturday. Scroll all the way down and go to savings account. You probably already have a savings account with your bank that's probably giving you 1.5, 1.3, something like that. Go down and look for other savings accounts that have higher interest. So the one we did at the weekend, I think it was 4.4% fixed for 1 year. Is what it was. So open that account. Usually you can open it on the phone app, so you don't even have to go anywhere to do it. Literally, we did it together before she went to bed. So you can scroll down, open a high yielding or high interest savings account, and whatever money you feel comfortable with, it's still with your same bank. All money that you put away is at risk, but you know what I mean. So just put the money in that high yielding savings account. At least that's 4% compared to the 1.5 or 1.6 you would have got if you didn't take any action. So if you're not ready, I still believe compounding is the 8th wonder or 9th wonder of the world. But exactly, but if you're not ready, you can still start to reap some benefits up to even 6%. There's a particular bank who, until they start paying us, I'm not going to say, that's actually paying 6.02% at the moment if you put in £50,000 or more. So for those parents who have that sort of money, you can, just by leaving your money in your account, be getting 6% returns. Like, that's not bad, and it's not far off what you would have gotten on the stock market in that same period of time anyway. So, yep, that's another one.
There's a question there. Can you do that for a child who is in Africa? So I think it was relating to savings, high savings account.
I'm sure you can, but I don't know what the laws are and what the banking is in that jurisdiction. So I'm not going to comment because I don't know. However, right now in the world, interest rates on borrowing are high. Interest rates generally are higher than they were before. It might not be 6% because I'm quoting numbers that I did at the weekend with real life examples in the UK. So go into your bank or check your banking app in whatever country you are in, and just see what those savings accounts are that are available to you. Read up on the interest rate, read up on whether they're easy access savings accounts or whether they're savings accounts where you need to lock the money away for a year or 2 years or whatever you feel comfortable with. But the point is, your regular savings accounts that you always had would probably be giving you a lower return than what's on the market. I was actually pleasantly surprised myself, especially when I saw the 6% interest one being on one of the high street banks are currently offering that. But like I said, it was 50,000, I believe, and it was if you locked it away for a year.
Okay. Um, I am just piggy banking off you today, like
I love it.
literally. Another one of the ways that talking about banks and I think people have now started to really it's like it's an old school thing so much. But one of the things that I did with my daughter, which I highly recommend, is that when you do have an account for your child, take them to an actual bank.
Mm.
Go into the bank, walk in with some cash, and let them deposit. The experience of going to the bank, that in itself is such a massive teaching moment. And I went with my daughter, and she was asking all sorts of questions. So this person, they take in the money, where is it going? And it sparks a natural
Mm.
conversation into banking systems, into money, into understanding better.
Mm.
But I think it's something that I know that high street banks are closing their what you call them, the branches, but
Yeah.
they're still there. They are still there, and it's worth having having that experience with your child. I think it's actually action and doing that and going into a bank. I mean, I thought I was teaching her about taking in money, putting into a savings account and all of that. But the questions that came out of there was like, so where does the
Mm.
money go? Oh, so where, okay, if she's taken it, where is it? Is it locked away somewhere? Can I come back here and get my money?
Wow.
All sorts of questions. So I think it's important, especially, to be honest, I would say especially if they're younger, but actually it's really good when they're younger, when they're a lot more susceptible to learning and they're quite curious, because
Mm.
actually they're going to open up a world of questions for you to answer and you have the conversation. So that's my tip today. Well, for now.
Yes. So my next one would be really allowing your child to save up for something significant that they want. Remember, we covered needs and wants a couple of weeks ago. So I'm not saying make them save up for the next meal. No, make them save up for a want, something that they want, and try and do it for something significant. I don't know, a bicycle or something that they want. Um, I think it's not, I think, I know that what that does is it allows them to journey with you in practicing delayed gratification. It also allows them to experience really the satisfaction when you actually wait and put money away, like you, the parent, does for them, at the end of the day. And I think for some children as well, I don't think I'll ever stop saying this. It allows them to visualize or even touch a sizable amount of money that they may not even have come in contact with before. Again, I was having a conversation with somebody about financial literacy in Africa, and how a lot of people that I've seen who come from very comfortable or wealthy homes have had everything provided for them. But the typical model is they go to the market or go somewhere, somebody else, so either a nanny or somebody has the card. So they never have actually even held a £50 note.
Mm,
They've seen somebody pay for it, they've seen that the cards get tapped, but they've never held it. And you'll be so surprised that psychologically, the day that said child then actually touches £50, they would act like they've never seen £50 before. Actually, they have never touched it. Not that they couldn't afford it, not that they don't even have more than that in their account, but there was just something to be said for physically handling cash and physically paying a large sum of money when you're a child. I remember I used to get, and I've said this every episode, I used to get pocket money for the week when I was younger. And from a really, really young age, I just knew that I couldn't spend all my money on the Monday. I just knew that I could hold on to and I needed to look after a larger sum of money. I just, and so again, with our interesting example, when I went to uni and then saw people get their first grant, in that October time, whenever the student loans start to drop, and they were just acting wild, I was confused. I was so confused. I'm like, have you just never seen money before? And these people were wealthy kids. They came from wealthy homes. So it wasn't that they weren't wealthy. They just hadn't been responsible for a large sum of money. So do practice with your child, them saving for a want. And if they spend it midway, then the goalpost extends. You know, that's what happens to you in real life. So yeah, that's another tip, but that honestly has huge, huge, huge benefits, not even just whatever it is that they're going to buy.
And then another one, off that thought actually, is actually, I think sometimes when you think about teaching your children about finances, you think about money and kind of the more financy things, but actually, I think learning to say no to purchasing stuff for
Mm,
them, I think is really important. I think it's a financial tool that will help. Just speaking to instant gratification. I mean, I always laugh that, when we grew up, certain things were, they were once in a while kind of things,
mhm,
yogurt, ice cream, um, going to McDonald's or a takeaway was an absolute treat, something that happened once in forever, if not ever. Whereas our children in this generation and the way technology is and the way life has become, it means that certain things are always available for them. They have ice cream all the time. They have yogurt all the time. There's so many things that we considered luxuries that are now just available. What that does, and I get it. You want to give your kids the best, but what we're eventually doing is not teaching them waiting.
mm,
We're not
mm,
teaching them to wait for things. It's I need it now, I get it now. And that's it. I buy
mm,
everything.
mm,
Anytime I ask for something, I get it. And sometimes even when you do have the money, I think it's important not to always buy it at
mm,
that specific time. Let it marinate with them, let them understand that actually you are making this as it's a planned one. It's something that's planned. So I will, with my daughter, I always, if she says she wants something, I always say, okay, let's save up for it. I'm not going to buy it today. Let's save up for it. And even if it's like something for £2 and I have the £2, what I'm trying to put across there is that we came into the shop, you didn't want this thing for £2. All of a sudden you want it, you're going to get it. And that's where our instant gratification is in enormous proportions. We're always buying and purchasing and consuming stuff. And it's not great for our pockets most of the times. So
yes,
yeah, delayed
absolutely.
gratification I think, is a massive teaching point that parents can help their kids with.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. And as always, the time just keeps flying.
Yeah.
Um, so for the
Caroline,
fun,
yes,
or
sorry,
was it a
Caroline,
final
yes,
question?
that's true. The thing is, Caroline just said, the thing is, when they wait after a few days, they actually don't want it. They really don't. I mean, we all have thousands of things that we don't need anymore. So we just have to really, it's something that we really have to try and help our children with. And that means just saying no. And actually, having a plan for purchasing is really important.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was just going to say the final thing from me today on parenting tips is to learn a new finance word every so often. So you can learn it every week, you can learn it every month, or whenever it is that you talk about finances. So, assets and liabilities. That is a very key one. That you can learn and actually practice examples of what an asset is and what a liability is in your day-to-day life. You can also learn, like Rumbi said earlier, taxes. What are taxes? What types of taxes do people pay when they start to earn their money? You can learn about venture capitalists. You can learn about net worth. You can learn so many finance words at home. And actually, both of you learn together, because a lot of people don't know what these words are. What is APR? What is AER? When you get loans, or even interest that you're earning on savings, learn what those words are. Remember, we're educators. When you are literate, financially literate, you will be in a situation where you can own your money and have a general sense of well-being, because you're in control of,
Mm.
excuse me, your money journey. You're not easily swayed by the new thing and crazy returns if you don't even understand finance words or basic financial literacy. So another tip that's not, again, that's very free to do, relatively, apart from your internet cost, is get a list of finance words and just pick a word a week or whenever you've got your one-to-one kind of learning time or a teachable moment, and you can start learning new words. My favorite ever, assets and liabilities.
Even your assets and liabilities.
God, that's gonna be
So,
my logo very soon. Assets, know your assets, know your liabilities.
well, mine is slightly different. I'm taking a different angle
Mhm.
um, from this assets and liabilities.
Okay.
Is that actually, I think they're words that are quite, they are what are normal words to us as an adult, but
Mhm.
actually, they are words that our kids need to learn that will help them with their finances. So I'll give you an example. Yet again, you'll hear about my daughter all the time because it's my point of reference. Um, we had a discussion about rent, and for some reason,
Ah.
I found it quite weird because I was like, I'm actually. She was like, she just thought that people just live in houses, right? I mean, like, no, you rent or you buy, and it sparked a whole conversation. So now she'll see something like, oh, so do you think that they own that or they rent it? Even like we once had a storage unit when we had moved out of our house, and she's like, oh, so you don't remember that day? You don't remember that time with that storage place? Did you? So did they just allow you to put your stuff there? I said, no, sis, we had to pay into rent. So I think having conversations about regular things that pertain to
Mm.
finances is really important. So, rent or mortgages is one, but also things like we talked about the taxes. Honestly, we're not equipping our children by not telling them that every time you get paid, taxes are taken off. We really aren't. We need to let them know this.
Mm.
But also that's a regular thing. Another regular thing is like your car. Do you own it? There's so many things that are around you. And I think it's important to have I am all about the normalization of conversation of
Yes.
finances. And I think those are the things we need to talk to our kids about. And the last thing I would say as a tip is that it's never too early. Even at 3-year-olds, there are lessons that can be learned.
Yes.
And I know that sounds crazy because that's three. However, in my own experience, I saw from about 4 or 5, we definitely were starting to be able to have conversations about money. They might not be about actual money in a way, but there are lots of conversations that to do with budgeting, with, we've talked about gratification, gratitude,
Mm. Mm.
all the other things that are more socially associated with money, which
Mm.
will help with spending,
Mm.
with management of money. So I think conversations cover, to be fair, the top tip for me is the conversational piece. Conversate about the different things in your house. It's amazing what we think our kids just know. And I suppose we learned at some point, but now that it's normal to you, it's actually not that normal to that child. So it's important to conversate. Carol says, I had to explain to my 9-year-old that I pay mortgage every month, and she was like, "Oh, but you bought the house; it's ours. We don't need to pay for it. This is the thing." And it's so easy not to. We have the assumption that they know, but how are they going to know unless we tell them?
Mm.
So as a
Mm.
parent, just think about some of the things that you think they already know, but it's in the conversational piece. You talking
Absolutely.
about that. You opened up the conversation of, oh, I also always assumed that, oh, we were happy, we were taking pictures, we bought a house. It means that the house is yours. But actually, the reality of what that really means, yes, of course, there are people who bought their houses all out. We don't want to not include the people that managed to do that, but the most people have to have a mortgage. And
Yeah.
then it sparked a whole conversation about
Yes.
all of that.
Yes,
One friend
absolutely.
said,
Something else that came up on the course last year was actually explaining what a bank is. So a lot, like I actually found a lot of the kids didn't realize that banks actually exist to actually make money off you, not the other way around. They totally beautifully innocently thought that a bank is something kind of that you employ and that works for you. And I was like, No. No.
It's,
They
but do you
exist.
blame them though? Like, when was the
No.
last time you went into a bank? Like,
Exactly.
it's like mind blowing. Like, what is it's almost every high street, right? And if you live in the UK, every high street had a bank.
Yes.
Nine out, probably half of those banks are now gone. And then you have the other providers that are up and coming with actually it's completely online.
Mm.
So by the time our kids, and also there's this whole thing about certain cards that kids get that are being pushed out there. I don't want to name the name of the company. However, it already starts to, and they're all online, so that child will physically never go to a bank. And so, how are they going to know what a bank is? There's a comment there that says, "My friend's daughter told the teacher that A is for asset and not A is for apple." I absolutely
Yeah!
love it. Ah,
That is a girl
your
after my heart.
your your daughter, your friend is doing a great job. Oh,
Yeah!
and the daughter.
Yes. Yes, yes. So this is what we're talking about, people. Financial literacy for children. It is never too early. And let me tell you, when somebody comes to that girl talking rubbish about get rich quick schemes, being
She
assets, and
will
no, that
like,
girl is gonna
no.
know. She is literate, okay? She will know. You know, no disrespect to apples, fruits are great, but we also need to increase and add more words to the vocabulary, okay? A is for asset. Love it. I love
I
it. I love
absolutely
it.
love it. That is our dream.
I
Have our kids
know.
talk about that. That's amazing.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. The time moves by quick, but yeah, we are all about informal chats. We try to even make this informal because that's what we're trying to teach, even by action,
Mm.
to get our kids to talk about things that are serious but in a fun, interactive way. And thank
Mhm.
you so much for everyone who joined and the commentary. It's so good to have people commenting and just gisting. This is a session of chat. It's a chit chat all about,
Yes.
yes, it's about money,
Mhm.
but it's quite nice to talk about the serious things too, but in a fun way.
Mm.
So thank you so much for joining. We will be back in 2 weeks. So we do these every other Tuesday. So we'll be back in 2 weeks. Yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks. So join us. You'll always see it either, or not either. You will see it on Harvest Family Finance and Zaki's Adventures. Both pages will feature both of the things, and they will be also on our pages under Reels. So
Mhm.
if you watch this later, also thank you for watching, and share it with a friend, share it with a parent who's trying to get their children literate, financially literate. Anything else from you, Angie?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rumbi. No, nothing to add from me, just that it's been yet another amazing. You can tell how much fun we're having by how quickly the time goes. Just
It's
yet another amazing episode of Money Chats with Hannah and Zaki. And until next time, people, thank you so, 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 so much. And
thank
see you soon.
you. Bye.